Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRFBets race of the day for Friday, September the 27th, race number 8 on opening day at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita. It's a grade 1 to boot, and it's a Breeders' Cup win you're in for the juvenile. Let's take a look at the field for the American Pharoah. A grade 1, $300,000 is the purse. These 2-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. Bob Baffert has the 9-5 morning line favorite, 8 rings. Johnny Velasquez picks up the mount. You can access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Download them and handicap along with us. Before we take the field in post position order, let's throw up that time form U.S. pace projector for this race. And we're expecting the pace to be hot, and we're expecting 8 rings with the addition of blinkers to be forwardly placed. And if I was Johnny V and I thought I was on the best horse, I wouldn't fool around.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll come out of there running and see what happens. He's going to be on, some kind of dead send in here, but this horse showed plenty of speed first time out.
Horse on the outside, the 8, Nucky, upset winner of the Del Mar Futurity up close. 4 Left, Gate to Wire winner of the Tremont earlier this year. Those horses could also be forwardly placed. This is the American Pharoah Stakes. We've got a son of American Pharoah breaking from the rail. The 1, American Theorem. The word was out from the clockers before this horse's debut. Hammered down to 2-1, and he was the goods. We'll watch the race right now. I like how professional he was because on the turn he had saved ground. He's the gray now who had angled out 3 wide to make the front. You still see he's a little bit green, but once he does make that lead change right there, he pulls away from this field. He wins it very nicely. The connections are taking the blinkers off here. You don't worry about the extra distance, even though he is stretching out 3 furlongs. This horse, to me, resembles all upside.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked his debut quite a bit. I thought he got a good trip in this race, but I'll give him credit just for, sitting behind a wall of horses early in that race. And then coming to the outside, he won very easily at the end. Listen, stretching out 3 furlongs is no piece of cake. He's going to have to run. He's going to have to really take a step forward to handle that. But, man, he's got a great post, and he really ran first time out.
Number 2 is 4 Left, won the first 2 starts of his career, including the Tremont Stakes on Belmont Stakes weekend, where you had to be on the lead and on the rail. And, well, 4 Left was on the lead, and he was on the rail, and he won by 5 with only a 69 buyer. Now, he's returned to Southern California since then, and he hasn't run very well. His best pal, maybe you could make the argument that he was prompting the pace 4 wide. That's not where he wanted to be, off a little bit of a layoff. Last time out, after the 2 favorites dumped their riders, you thought he was in a perfect situation no matter how fast they were going. He just didn't run at all. I just think he was very keyed up with the blinkers. The blinkers are coming off. He'll be forward again, but he's going to have to prove it now.
Yeah, he is going to have to prove it. Obviously, he was pretty forward as a 2-year-old, as an early 2-year-old. He had some things go his way, as you mentioned, in the Tremont when he won that race, but he still ran well that day. I don't know, Dan. I don't love his last 2 races. I'm worried about him stretching out, but he's going to be a good price in this race.
8 rings. Does Baffert have another good one in the mold of American Pharoah? This one won his debut, 94 buyer speed figure on the lead. He was 1-2 in the Del Mar Futurity, and disaster. He lost the jockey at the start. Baffert's putting blinkers on. It's been a very successful move for him over the years with his 2-year-olds, Mike. And 8 rings again. That debut left a lot of people breathless.
Yeah, he was really good first time out. He had speed in that race, but he wasn't, out there winging it on the lead. He just set up outside of 2 other horses. And when it was time to go, he powered away from that field very easily. Obviously, that was, sort of disappointing last time that he bolted and lost his rider. So obviously he has to behave himself here with the blinkers going on. But if he does, he's the horse to beat.
And he was flattered by the second out performance of his next door neighbor, the 4 Express Train, who was no match for 8 rings sprinting in his debut at Del Mar. Express Train then stretched out around 2 turns in start number 2, and look what he did. He went right to the front under Mike Smith, and he just extends from the quarter pole to the wire. He wins by almost 15 lengths, rock solid 83 buyer. This did seem to be a speed-friendly racetrack, but, I'm sure the track only could flatter him so much. He won by a country mile.
Yeah, he won this race super easy. You could see there, there's nobody in the picture anymore, but they were really struggling behind him from the top of the stretch. There's just really zero running going on behind this horse. But I don't really know if that takes too much away from him because he ran well there, and he ran well first time out too when 8 rings just buried him. But he ran really well in that race, and he's already been to 2 turns. There's a lot to like about this horse.
Positive formulator fact for John Sheriff's, another thing to like. Past 3 years on dirt, maiden winner last out, 4 for 8, $8.02 ROI. I believe Gormley came off the maiden to win the front runner the American Pharoah, as it is known as now. The 5 is Storm the Court, debut winner at Del Mar, going 5.5. He was involved in all those problems in the Del Mar Futurity when he lost his rider. How do you think about him stretching out in distance? He's by Court Vision out of a Tejano run mare. I think he'll handle it just fine. I liked his debut, even though it may not have been as flashy as that of 8 Rings.
I liked his debut a lot, too. I thought he did a lot of good things in that race, including turning away a huge favorite in the stretch in there. I liked his debut a lot. And, listen, he was just very unlucky last time with 8 Rings basically wiping him out early in the race. So, who knows what would have happened. But I'm with you. I think he should be able to stretch out just fine. I liked his debut. He's going to be a price in this race.
Doug O'Neill is the 6th defense wins, a maiden 15-1 on the morning lines, been beaten by Collusion Illusion, 3rd in the Del Mar Futurity. This is a colt that I'm assuming that Rafael Bejarano is just going to take to the back of the field, hope that the pace is fast, and come with a run.
Yeah, he probably will just try to sit it out here and make a run towards the end of the race. I don't, after 8 Rings lost his rider in the Del Mar Futurity, that's not a race I have a lot of confidence in.
Intriguing Invader from New York for Steve Asmussen, the 7 shoplifted, debut winner at Saratoga, going 5.5 furlongs. Did that in very solid fashion, looked good doing it. They ran him in the hopeful second time out. He ran into his stablemate Basin, really seemed to appreciate the sloppy track, and is a very talented horse in his own right. I think this is a nice placement for Asmussen. He's got to keep his horses apart. Why not try 2 turns in Southern California with shoplifted, who could be lurking under the radar from a price standpoint?
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see how he does with more distance. I was sort of taken by his debut, where he basically got outpaced early in that race. He just couldn't keep up with the speed, but he really kicked it into gear in the stretch. I really liked that win from him. I thought he ran fine in the hopeful. So we'll see about him stretching out. He's from that Miss Shop family. She wanted to go long, so he's got enough pedigree to handle it. He's a dangerous horse in here.
Nucky paid $72 to win the Del Mar Futurity when beating 4 of these, although 2 of them were wiped out at the start. And after that happened, the race turned into an absolute crapshoot. They went very fast early and very slow late. And they're turning into the lane, and there's Nucky and the turquoise sills battling it out for the lead throughout. You see Defense Wins, the gray and the red noseband, going to angle out to the outside. It looks like Nucky's looking for somebody to come get him. It doesn't happen. I guess you can give Nucky credit for keeping on after being on that fast pace. But again, when the big favorite gets wiped out early, you have to wonder how to analyze that race at all.
Yeah, true enough. And you could see that they were really struggling at the end of that race. And now they've all got to stretch out around 2 turns here. They can't take the Grade 1 win away from him, Dan. He's already got it, and they can't take it back. But an effort like that's not going to beat this field.
Collusion Illusion's a perfect 2 for 2 for trainer Mark Glatt. Both of those races sprinting. Let's look at the Grade 2 Best Pal. This was a race that had some pace up front, and you're going to see Collusion Illusion on the outside right now. White cap, red sleeves, Joe Talamo under an all-out drive, and Collusion Illusion's going to show some guts to win this race at 7-1. Although, didn't you get the feeling that maybe this race was kind of falling apart a little bit late?
It was a little bit. I like that Talamo sort of rated him early and let him settle off of it, but he came wide. He kept going to the end. That's 2 times in a row. I feel like he's won that way, just sort of real game at the end and getting it done. We'll see if he's as game with more distance.
It's possible 8 Rings is the real deal. We will find out on Friday in the American Pharoah. As we take a look at our picks, I have to admit I don't have a strong opinion in this race. I like 3 horses in here. 4 Left is a horse that has shown a little bit of ability. He has some tactical speed, and I think he just ran off with his blinkers last time out. The blinkers come off. He's the biggest price of the 3, which is why I made him my top pick, even though in my opinion, he's the least likely winner of the 3. I want to use American Theorem. I want to use Express Train. And let's find out how good 8 Rings is.
Yeah, I guess that is maybe the right way to look at it, is sort of at a short price, maybe you make 8 Rings sort of prove it. I did really like his debut. I put him on top. The other 2 horses for me are American Theorem and Shoplifted. They both have to stretch out, but they both look pretty good to me. I went 3-1-7.
And you made a very, very good point again about Shoplifted's pedigree. It is certainly geared towards going long, and maybe he just didn't care for that wet track last time out. And he ran quite well. So 2-1-4 for me, but basically using all 3 in multiple race wagers. Mike looking at 8 Rings, American Theorem, Shoplifted. 3-1-7 in your race of the day. The American Pharoah, post time on Friday, 4:30 Pacific. Best of luck.